So this is a video that I had on my list ever since I played um that episode on Star Citizen where we did a lot of contracts. So welcome back guys to another Star Citizen lore video. If you're new channel, welcome. This is a video by the TheAstroHistorian. So shout out and credit goes to the TheAstroHistorian as always for doing an amazing job on his videos um and hopefully maybe I'll get another chance to be on his podcast. But anyways, this one is called Origins of Hurston Dynamics, Star Citizen lore. So the reason why I am really interested in this video is because uh, when I started doing contracts with my guys, my crew in Star Citizen, and there is a gameplay video of it on my channel. I think it's called Contracts. I forgot the title by heart, but it was basically us doing a lot of contracts. What I noticed was every time we took a contract and I read it, the people who provide it, like a majority, is Hurston Dynamics. So it got me thinking, like, who is Hurston Dynamics? Like, what makes this corporation so well known? Or are they like really this wealthy to like give out this many contracts and things like that? So Hurston Dynamics has been on my radar, and I have been looking for lore videos. And what do you know? There was one by the Asher Historian. So I'm really curious to see who, I mean, not who, like how Hurston Dynamics began and how it grew and what they are today. So, well, I mean, what they are now in Star Citizen universe. I mean, so without anything else, let's just jump right into it.
This is a story of a dynasty, a lineage which stretches so far back its true
Damn, look at that
roots
mustache.
are lost to time. A family that has fundamentally changed how humanity fights wars. One renowned for also caring little for those same people as more than serfs. Come hear the tale of the oldest arms dealer in human history, Hurston Dynamics.
They're the oldest arms dealer.
My name is Paul Shelley, and welcome to The AstroHistorian. This is a series where I talk about all things sci-fi and space lore. Today we'll be talking about the first in a short series of videos discussing the history of the Hurston family and the company they founded, Hurston Dynamics. Before I get started, I would like to thank you all for watching these videos. I literally cannot do this without your support, and it means a lot that you chose to watch this video today. Be sure to check out if you've hit the subscribe button and the bell icon
Already did.
to know exactly when these videos come out.
Already did.
Now, let's start with the oldest arms dealer in human history. The history of Hurston is lost to time. What we know is that the family claims their roots extend back to the Middle Ages of Europe, where they sold everything from broadaxes to crossbows. While this is likely an exaggeration, the name is Scottish in origin, with the original name Auerstein, found as far back as 1040 CE in Orkney in the extreme north of Scotland. The family also claims to have designed everything from fixed-wing jet aircraft to atomic weapons, meaning they likely see themselves as inheritors of some 20th century weapons manufacturer, all in an attempt to give themselves more legitimacy. However, it's not out of the question that they are indeed from a long line of arms makers. It would help to explain the meteoric rise of the Hurstons, to go from obscurity to one of the most important institutions in human history. For now, let's look at the first Hurston history has recorded, the progenitor of the modern company itself, Solomon Hurston. While all we know about Solomon Hurston's father is that he was a Hurston, we do know his mother was named Janice the Long. She had founded a successful company before she gave birth to Solomon, but passed away shortly after. He and his father watched as the company was taken away from the family, and this had a huge impact on young Solomon, who ended up growing up in poverty as a result. He wanted to follow in his mother's footsteps, but keep his future company in the family, a chance he would soon get after coming of age. To understand what would become Hurston Dynamics, we need to understand the world the first Hurston was in. Less than a century after the foundation of the first united human government under the United Nations of Earth, humanity first made contact with a sapient alien race, the Banu. While first contact was peaceful.
Oh, and I know you guys have been like asking me to do that video, the history of the Banu species. I do apologize that I keep on saying like I'm getting to it, but it's certain videos that are like certain links that they're hard to like get to because I do play a lot of other games that take up most of my time. So certain length of like lore videos is a little bit harder to complete. So that's why. But I swear, I have it saved. I did not forget it.
The tense situation around it caused some concerns. Vernon Tarr was an explorer and nav jumper, a profession which took equal amounts of skill and cunning. In the early days of human exploration era, nav jumpers were the best pilots humanity had to offer. They had little in the way of nav computer help and had to rely on their own training and experience to travel through even well-known jump points. Seeing a veteran nav jumper was a rare sight in those days, and Vernon Tarr was as veteran as they come. Additionally, charting new jump points is several times more dangerous, as it requires a lot of quick reflexes and good equipment. To add to all of this, new jump points were very lucrative, so people would often trail nav jumpers to cut into the find of a new jump point if they had a chance. When they found what they were looking for, they would often ambush and kill those nav jumpers in order to claim the right of the new jump point for themselves.
Of
That is
course.
all to say that Vernon Tarr was an old hat to this game, and was looking for a new jump point he knew was in the Davian system. When another ship suddenly appeared on his sensors, he did what veteran nav jumpers did. He took a shot, thinking it was an ambush by some ne'er-do-wells who were looking to cut in on his find. Thankfully, he missed, and before he could line up another shot, he realized what he was seeing was no human vessel. Quickly realizing
Oh,
his error, he contacted the UNE, who facilitated first contact with the Banu properly. This
he
whole
almost
event
shot the
shook the
Banu.
UNE to its core, knowing how easily a shooting war with aliens could occur if they weren't careful. So in response, the Congress drastically increased the meager military budget to prepare for the worst-case scenario. That is where Solomon Hurston came in. Solomon had become a middleman for government contracts, buying goods for cheap and selling them for profit to fulfill UNE government needs.
That would explain the amount of contracts that I keep on seeing on Star Citizen.
When the contract to create lasers for a series of military space defense platforms was announced, Solomon realized there was great profit to be had. He knew of a struggling laser manufacturing company whom he may have had dealings with in the past, who were perfect for the contract, but couldn't make the amount required for the government's need. Taking a risk, Solomon Hurston took out a loan and bought the company outright, renaming it Hurston Dynamics in 2948. He then took the rest of
Oh,
the loan to drastically upscale production and managed to get the contract from the UNE military. The result allowed him to pay off his loan with a substantial remainder after the fact. Using his connections from this sale, he and his
wow.
business continued their relationship with the UNE military, and by 2460, Hurston Dynamics was a major military manufacturer. As the company grew, things became far more complex for him alone to handle, so he brought his two sons into the company to help him run it and keep his business
Family
in the
business.
family. Hurston Dynamics steadily acquired new businesses, mines, and suppliers as their business with the UNE steadily grew, all becoming subsidiaries within the larger company.
So that would explain his rise. I mean, he took a huge risk, like taking that loan out. But I mean, that's how it is. You have to take risks. But um, I say the huge factor that brought Hurston Dynamics to what it is his constant connection and work with the military and government that like solidified his position and his foundation as to what Dynamics is. Because I mean, with that kind of backing and with those kind of contracts and work, no wonder that Hurston Dynamics went like this.
With each new purchase, a new family member was placed at the head of these acquisitions. However, this is far from simple nepotism. While Solomon wanted to keep it a family business, he felt that in order to succeed, the family member needed to be the best fit for the job, earning the right to run each division. Just being a Hurston wasn't enough. You needed to earn the right to lead. This is best
Okay, at least they value
exemplified by the
that.
fate of one of Solomon's own sons, Darrington Hurston. While contracts with the government were lucrative for the Hurstons, it was hard to keep costs low while also delivering the products to government specifications in order to make a profit. For Darrington Hurston, this was a major issue, as he was in charge of a factory that produced mag resistors. but the cost was significant enough for them to barely break even. So, rather than reduce costs or improve the production, he cut corners. When his mag
Oh,
resistors failed on a Navy
here we
railgun,
go.
it exploded and cost the lives of several Navy personnel, with the blame directly on Darrington and Hurston themselves. The Hurston brand was nearly ruined because of this, and caused the company to lose several important contracts. In response, Solomon very publicly fired his son and swore he would never sacrifice quality in order to make a profit, a vow they
Oh wait, now this sounds familiar. I mean, Hurston Dynamics. I remember like there was a family business, but it was like in another video. I think it was like Idris or the complete history videos that talked about Hurston Dynamics. Now it's starting to come back, but that's the dark side of business. It's very hard to like build trust, build connections, and gain contracts. But it just takes one mistake, no matter if it's an accident or your fault, to lose everything. I mean, not just business. That's just life in general. It's just like trust. Trust is hard to build. Trust is hard to maintain, but it's as fragile as glass.
have stuck to for almost 500 years. While this is a noble statement, in reality they still do cut corners, just not with the final product. Hurstons began to openly and routinely shirk environmental regulations in order to bring down costs, resulting in them being one of the worst polluting companies of all time. This change forced the Hurstons out of many settled systems and into more fringe and remote locations, where their rampant disregard for their impact on the local ecology was less regulated or seen, a trend which continues to this very day.
One moment, guys. Okay, guys. Again, someone was at the door. I mean, they've been doing this frequently a lot lately. But anyways, we're just gonna continue where we left off.
In 2488, Solomon Hurston retired and passed the reins of power to his son Isaiah Hurston, the start of a tradition
Isaiah.
that continues to this very day. While there isn't much known about Isaiah, he seemed to continue to practice business much as his father before him, keeping the company in the good graces of the UNE military. However, his heir, Ariel Hurston, was poised to be very different. Ariel Hurston became the third CEO around 2514, where he immediately began to shake up the company. He took the idea of reducing costs to a whole new level by introducing the life labor contract. This contract gave Hurston a
Oh,
high degree of control over.
yeah. This I remember this contract because it really blew my mind. Like the terms of it and all that. I mean, I was basically saying like you're basically just signing your life away like slavery. I don't remember the details of it. I mean, Astro Historian is about to explain it, but I just want to put it out there that I do remember this contract.
Employees in exchange for housing, medical support, and other social services. It is likely that being forced into the remote areas of the burgeoning human empire meant they were experiencing labor shortages. This was seen by Ariel himself as a fair means to attract workers, offering them significant support and guaranteed employment in exchange for more of their time and labor. In practice, it meant that Hurston employees were often the desperate, the poor, or ex-convicts, and this attracted a lot of negative attention for labor rights groups, who called it effectively slavery. Hurston still
Yep.
denies these claims, saying they offer opportunities few others give to their workers. No matter what, the life labor contract and other new practices worked wonders for the bottom line of Hurston Dynamics. Ariel
I
presided over
bet.
the company for 2 decades of record profits, and even managed to maintain and grow the company's contracts as the United Nations of Earth reformed into the United Planets of Earth. He is still remembered fondly by the company today, with the first moon of Stanton 1 being named after him. When Ariel stepped down as CEO, little did anyone in the company know that they were about to experience the biggest growth of the company in their short history, and
Really?
catapult them from being an important government contractor to one of the most important companies in the UEE. In 2530, the palace system was discovered by nav jumper named Catherine Segovia. She was interested in the job for the money over the fame, so when her initial scans showed a resource-rich system with a planet with a possibility to be terraformed, she turned around and auctioned off the rights to the system to mining and terraforming concerns. Gaia Planet Services won the bid and immediately attempted to terraform the new planet. They did not register this with the new UPE government and did not send out any survey teams, believing the system to be theirs for the taking. To their surprise, as the initial terraforming crew of 276 people were setting up their equipment, they were quickly surrounded and captured by a species we would come to know as the Xi'an,
Xi'an.
who had
Yeah.
controlled the system for many years before the arrival of Gaia Planet Services. In the end, hostilities were averted through tense negotiations, but unlike the gregarious and trade-oriented Banu, the Xi'an were much shrewder and more calculating, demanding the known extent of human space in order to free the humans they had captured. This instantly put the UPE and much of humanity on the back foot, cautious of the Xi'an's true intentions. This would result in even more increase in military budget, and as a result, far more profits for Hurston Dynamics. However, the true boom was to come shortly after.
I mean, the booms keep on seems to happen when one, they encounter an alien race, the Banu and the Xi'an, or two, when they wrap the word slavery with something else like lifelong labor with provided basic needs.
In 2541, only 11 years after the discovery of the Xi'an, Dr. Keller Lynch was working for the New Horizons Research Institute in the Centauri system on Yar. He found out that his job was to be little more than a scientific lackey, for the owner of the institute was the infamous Hathor Group, who had already been exploiting and mismanaging the Nexus system. In response, he abandoned his small research outpost on Yar, but his experience with research drones that he was using at the outpost gave him an idea, and he went exploring the system on a whim. After a few days, his drones made a lucrative discovery, a brand new jump point. Dr. Lynch was no nav jumper, though, and he knew the perils of blindly jumping into an uncharted jump point. Yet, he took the risk and managed to survive, emerging into a new
That's
system,
crazy.
but not an unpopulated one. The system he discovered was teeming with life, as a space-capable civilization that was near peer with humanity was just starting its expansion from their home system. The very system Dr. Lynch had stumbled into. Unfortunately, Lynch let his curiosity get the better of him as he sent out one of his research drones down to the home planet of the species, an act which very easily could have been seen as a hostile one to the martial species who resided there. When he lost contact with the drone, he returned to Centauri to alert the proper officials, but by then, it was too late. The species he found, the Tavaran, would declare war on the UPE less than a year later by
The
invading
Tavaran
the
War.
Idris system and bombing Idris 4 from orbit, capturing it swiftly afterwards. This was great news for the company, but not so great news for one Hurston in particular. Chief Warrant Officer Ita Hurston was part of the UPE Navy's Advanced Special Operations Group and wife to Julius Hurston, who worked for Hurston Dynamics in the financial department. Julius was known for maximizing efficiency without compromising quality or profits, but his talents wouldn't serve to aid him in the troubles he was about to endure.
What
Ita
now?
was serving with the Advanced Special Operations Group during the outbreak of the Tavaran War. Shortly after, likely during the defense of Idris, she was killed in action. Though not a Hurston by blood, in death she came to represent the Hurston values of not just building weapons, but picking them up and using them when the Empire called them. This has a lot to do with her husband. Stricken by grief with her passing, Julius used his skills in finance to set up and run several charities in his wife's name to combat social issues. As a result, Ita has come down in history as a war hero, which can be seen as the fourth moon of Stanton 1 was named in her honor.
Oh,
The
wow.
rest of the family seemed to come out of the war in a much better state. Before the Tavaran attacked, the UPE had relied mostly on militia and a very small professional military to keep the peace in their growing empire. However, first contact with the Xi'an and then Tavaran War drastically increased the size of the military. This meant more contracts for Hurstons and less questions about their practices, as their work became vital to the security of humanity.
Okay, so this explains why Hurston Dynamics has so many contracts and Star Citizen. But yeah, when I guess like when you're fighting against the enemy and you need more help, then you tend to ask less questions. So they won't question Hurston dynamics if they start to cut corners or they do something morally questionable. So that would explain why they did so well.
Hurston weapons and parts were essential to the victory over the Devarin, and they seemed to have been rewarded for their efforts when the hero of the First Devarin War,
Oh yeah,
Ivan
him.
Mezer, rose to
Mezer,
the
yeah.
position of High General and eventually Imperator of the new United Empire of Earth. All the while, the company steadily grew, as the new UEE relied more and more on a buildup of weapons to maintain its power, and was more than willing to turn a blind eye to the questionable business practices of Hurston as long as they saw results. This culminated in the rise of one Archibald Hurston, who became
Man,
the
look at that
youngest
mustache.
CEO in Hurston history in the 27th century. Archibald used the lax regulations of the Mezer era to the Hurston's advantage by vertically integrating the company entirely, meaning that from the miners that removed the ore to the stores that sold the final product and every step in between was all owned by Hurston itself. This drastically cut costs and increased profits, as Hurston could quite literally not be beaten by price or quality. Archibald sealed the company's
Wow.
future by taking the weapons giant and turning it into one of the largest and most profitable companies in the entire UEE. He is remembered fondly by the Hurstons of today, with
The
grand
Memorial Hall.
golden statues of him presiding over the entrance to the headquarters of the company. He's also famous for the contempt he showed to the average employees of his own company. His own meteoric
Oh,
rise through the ranks likely gave him a sense that he was simply better than others. His family was a giant in the industry because they were good at what they did. His family members were not just business owners, but engineers, scientists, and soldiers, and each of them had to earn their right to work in those positions, meaning they were the best of the best. So if he could beat them and become the youngest CEO in history, then he was special. Thus, he
he was that
famously
good.
saw those who were in positions below him as less than him. In a cruel sense of honor that seems to be pervasive in the Hurston family, he believed that greatness could also be taught. Thus, his most famous words etched not into just the walls of the Hurston headquarters, but resonating through the culture of the family itself, were
Workers must be taught excellence by their betters.
What's
This,
with the
among
voice?
everything else, perfectly encapsulates what the Hurstons have become in the modern UEE, a powerful dynasty of talented individuals pitted against one another to weed out weakness, and to see those subservient to them as children that need to be led as much as managed, all while reducing costs and increasing profits by almost any means necessary. The robber barons of the UEE. And their story is not over yet.
But that was really
I hope
cool.
you enjoyed the first part of our in-depth look at Hurston Dynamics. Be sure to stay up to date with the future installments by subscribing to the channel. And if you truly enjoyed what you just saw, make sure to hit that like button to help spread the word and grow the channel. I'd like to thank you for watching. A very special thanks to the Darklaw, who lent his voice talents to bring life to Archibald Hurston and to help me with some pronunciation with the Scottish Auerstein. And I'd like to thank those on screen now
that
who
explains
support me
it.
on Patreon to keep this content going. I'm currently trying to raise enough to hire an editor who can help me increase the quality and quantity of these videos coming, including a timed Patreon exclusive where I cover the entire history of the Star Citizen universe. If that sounds like something you would enjoy, think about joining my Patreons for as little as $5 a month. For now, let me know what you think of the story of the Hurston family in the comments below. And as always, remember, Ex Historia ad Astra.
So, Hurston dynamics. Nepotism in a way, but however, you have to earn that position, and war profiteering, because they had such great relations and contracts with the UEE or UNE, UPE, whenever. And also, on top of that, encounters with alien races and jump points. So, they had a lot of risks, but they were good at what they did. So, the Hurston dynamics, I did remember some parts of it, like the encounter with the Banu, the lifelong labor contract, the encounter with Jian, and also the laser on the Idris accident, because I did remember hearing that somewhere. I think it was the Idris lore video or one of the complete history videos. I just don't remember where, but I do remember hearing that. So some of the parts of these videos did sound familiar, but most of it was new, like learning the families and Hurston dynamics, going all the way back to like supplying weapons and creating weapons way back then. So this is a really great video. I really liked it. So shout out and credit goes to the TheAstroHistorian about Hurston dynamics. If there's something he didn't mention or something you guys just want to share in the put it down in the comments below. I really would like to hear them. So that's all I got for today, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. And also shout out to all my members, subscribers, viewers. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I really do appreciate it. So without anything else, see you guys next time.